Great! You now have a mobile app idea and you want to develop it yourself. But where do you start? Or how do you start? Here are 7 phases of software development. Hey guys, this is Mark, and welcome to my YouTube channel. First, I would like to plug in my new podcast channel that I will be launching this week on Spotify. Most of you guys are on the road heading to your office, wondering when will the traffic problem be fixed. Instead of being in a bad mood, follow my podcast channel. Not only will it help you endure the traffic, but you will learn software technologies as well. Just head over to the descriptions below and look for the link to my Spotify channel. Now, let's talk about the first phase in software development, which is conceptualizing. Basically, you're only halfway this phase since you already have an idea for your app. The only things that you need to come up in this phase is just the sort of specific details. Like for example, where does the user go to if they click this button, if they do this action and whatnot. So you need to at least maybe a one pager document where you list the steps or the flow of your app. You don't need to write down the exact scenario that will happen. You just have to jot down the your ideas so that it will grow into you. It will change over time. So the purpose of this phase is just you won't forget the things that you've thought of. Also to iron out the missing stuff. Like for example, oh, I forgot to list the things that will happen when you click the options. I forgot to include the settings for profile or something like that. Next up is prototyping. So after doing the concepts of your app, you do the prototypes, meaning you program the app itself, but without considering the quality of your codes. You can just hard code stuff there. For example, there's a label and it says you are disconnected from the server or you are disconnected from the services. If you're planning to support multi-language in the future, for example, you want to support Swedish or Dutch, you must not hard code that word that you're disconnected from the server. Basically, you need a file. They call this localization file, where this file contains the different languages for a certain thought that you want to deliver. Like, for example, you are disconnected to the server. So there's a Dutch version of that sentence, and there's a Swedish version of that sentence. That will be in the localization file. So basically, the text that you're showing up on your screen or on your device, the text in that label will come from the localization file, and it will base on the language of the phone of the device that the user is using. In prototyping stage, you don't have to think of that. You don't have to develop in such a way that it supports localization. The the main purpose of this phase of prototyping is to validate your concept, your idea. This is the phase where you quickly edit or quickly change your stuff so that you can tell if the app or your idea is indeed worth your time or worth your money if you're hiring developers or hiring artists for the assets of the app. This phase usually takes a week to a month. It doesn't need to be longer than a month. If you're developing prototype for more than a month, it means that you're focusing on the small details, which you shouldn't, because like I said, the main purpose of this phase is to validate your idea. That's what you should be thinking. For example, if you support the options or the setting of the profile of the user, if it doesn't contribute to the main idea of the app, maybe the app is about productivity. You have a to-do list. So the main feature of the app is a to-do list or a grocery list. I believe profile picture or updating a profile picture doesn't contribute to that concept. You have to skip that. You need to focus on the list. You need to focus on saving, on if you're supporting a cloud save or a cloud update, you need to work on that so that you can verify, you can ask users, you can ask potential users if they indeed need this, and if they experience the app that you made, the prototype that you made, and they're happy and you're hitting a specific market, you can move on from the prototyping to our next phase, which is iteration. What you do in this phase is just enhancing your prototype until you reach the experience that you're targeting. For example, for a certain app, for a grocery app, you want your app to be in every consumer's phone. That's your vision. Whenever a person, either an older person or a younger person, wants to buy something from grocery, you want your app to be running, and the person that's looking to through the aisle of the grocery store is looking at your phone. So you need to iterate, come up with ideas that will help them do that. For example, gamify the app. As long as they open the app, as long as they're scrolling to the list, reward them with some experience so they level up and they share it to someone else. I don't know. But basically, this phase is just coming up with new ideas, testing it out, and then if it's not contributing to your overall vision, you have to ditch it or move it to future updates. And if it contributes to your overall vision, then you have to include it. Let me recap that. So after prototyping, get some potential users, and then you let them test it out, you get their feedback, and then change the things that you don't need, add some features that you think will help the app give better user experience, and then test it out again until you're happy with the feedback, until you're happy with the result, and until you believe that it will deliver the user experience that you're envisioning to the market. Our next phase will be production. So in this phase, you will be starting from scratch in terms of coding, in terms of development, but not in terms of concept, since the concept and the idea is already there and it's solid, since considering you've iterated enough and the feedbacks are great. In this phase, you will be developing the app from scratch. You will be more careful with your codes, with the codes that you are encoding in your app, since this is the production level. This codes or this version of the app is the one that will be released into public, into worldwide maybe, or your local market. You will be implementing certain design patterns. You will be optimizing your app so that it won't lag, it won't slow down, it won't leak memory. This is the actual development. So yeah, that's it. That's actually the production. The next phase will be the alpha phase or the alpha version. In this version, your app will have the core features, the basic features that contributes to your overall vision. In my example earlier, if the edit profile or update picture doesn't contribute that much to a grocery list, that won't be included in this build. It doesn't do much for your goal. Also in this phase, you'll be iterating as well. You need to, test it out, since this code is from scratch. I mean, it's not the code from the prototype version. It's another version which started from the production phase. You need to test it again for bugs, if there are certain features that are not working, or certain features that doesn't do what you intended it to be. After this phase, you'll be moving to the next phase, which is the beta phase or beta version. And usually in this phase, you'll be including public users. You release the app, for example, for the Philippines only, so that not all of your market will be getting the version, but sort of like a small group, so that you can get more feedbacks from more real customers. Unlike in alpha phase, you're only getting some testers. In this phase, you don't have control who downloads the app. You get the analytics data, you get their feedback, you fix bugs, you add more features, the fluff features, like for example in our example earlier, the profile pic for a grocery app. So you add those, you add sound effects, animation, if you need, or if you want it to be more pretty, maybe. In this phase, you still need to iterate, fix it, improve the features from the feedback, act accordingly. Like for example, there's a feature in alpha phase that is well received by the controlled group, by your testers. But in beta, a lot of people are angry about it, or a lot of people are not using it quite often, instead of putting your resources to that feature, or instead of just including it in the app, you can just remove it. You're doing everything for the users. Your decision is driven by the user feedback, because the app is for the users, not for yourself, unless otherwise, unless you're doing it for your own company. So next will be the gold master phase, or this is the final release, or this is the version 1 of your app. You will be releasing your app. If you're targeting a worldwide audience, you will be launching it worldwide now. It's like a beta version, but it's larger. You will be visible to all of your target audience. Of course, in this phase, in this version, a lot of more people will be able to access your app in comparison to beta version. So a lot more feedback will be coming, and you need to fix those feedbacks. Like, for example, there's a bug in these parts of the app, and then there's a feature that a lot of people from maybe from United States or from Sweden doesn't like a certain feature. You need to work on those, since you are catering your app to the users, not for yourself. And that's it. Continue updating your app, bug fixes, add more features that you think is necessary. Basically, that's how you develop an app. That's how you develop a software application, be it in mobile device or on a desktop application. And I believe it works on websites as well, in web apps. So yeah, that's it. Those are the 7 phases of software development. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing and hit that like button if you did like it, and dislike it if you don't. So until my next video, don't forget to check my Spotify podcast channel, alright? That's it, guys. Thanks.